What's going on, Tiger fans? You found your way back to another LSU Recruiting HQ video. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel, and also follow us on all of our social media accounts on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you guys for watching. What's going on, guys? Another video back, LSU Recruiting HQ, and it is Mississippi State game week. So you know what we're doing, man. We're breaking down the game. What's going on is finally going to be SEC Saturday night in Death Valley. The Tigers host Mississippi State at 5 Central Time on Saturday night. And yeah, man, we're kicking off SEC play, man. It's finally here. And Mississippi State, man, they're coming in one of the hottest teams in the SEC right now. Two big victories to open up the year against a solid Group of 5 team and a Power 5 opponent. Two quality wins for them. Obviously, Mike Leach is the head coach at Mississippi State. Been there for 2 years, made his coaching debut 2 years ago at the school, where obviously we all remember he knocked off the defending national champions in that COVID year. KJ Costello set the SEC passing record that day with Bo Pelini stubborn behind. Played man covers the whole game, and LSU paid for it dearly. And LSU dropped that game. LSU was able to get revenge the following year in 2021, going to Starkville and narrowly really controlling the whole game until the fourth quarter. And Mississippi State mounted that huge comeback, and LSU ended up only winning by 3 points. A lot better defense was played in that game on the LSU side. But this year's game is going to be completely different, man. Mike Leach talked in his press conference about how new LSU is, new coaching, new players. It's all new to him. You really don't know what to expect, and a lot of us LSU fans are kind of like that too. We still don't know what to expect even through 2 games. Jaden Daniels is your quarterback. You get John Emery back. You have Kayshawn Butte as a valuable weapon. Offensive line is still struggling. But it seems like Brian Kelly has gone ahead with that rotation, and he likes, and we'll see how they hold up against one of the top run defenses in the SEC. One of the best defenses in the league in general. Zach Arnett leads that defense. He interviewed with Coach O last year for the LSU DC job. It didn't work out, and so he stayed at Mississippi State, and he has produced nothing but great defenses since he's been there. And with Mike Leach running the offense, you know what you're going to get with the air raid. A lot of people get the air raid confused with that old Chip Kelly fun and gun type offense, and it's really not that at all, man. Mike Leach is all about ball control. If you go look at Mississippi State's numbers this year, man, they hold the ball a long time compared to their opponents, and they use it as a numbers game. It's just a ball control game. They just do it throwing instead of running the football. So on defense, what LSU has to do, they've got to make the first tackle, keep everything in front of you, obviously, and you have to get pressure with 3 to 4 guys. You can't. It's not a game where you can send blitzes and do stuff like that, because and everybody on defense has to know their assignment in the zone, because that's where they try to confuse you. But if everybody it does their job and stays in their area, and the communication is good, things could go well. The secondary being new to each other, new coaching staff, is obviously problematic for LSU, and probably something that Mississippi State's going to test early. Obviously, with the corners. With the communication between the corners and the linebackers, all that stuff is going to be tested. And I got a feeling Mississippi State is coming in here, and they are not scared of LSU. They're coming in as the favorites in this game. As of right now, 2.5-point favorites at LSU. So they're coming in with a lot of confidence. But I also think this is a game that LSU can win, and they if they can steal this game at home, and it'll just build momentum on into the season. This is a pivotal game for both teams in that respect, because the trajectory of Mississippi State could be altered just like it was last year, or LSU's trajectory could stay on that downhill decline, or they could win this game and then go to the next one, win your non-conference game, and then now you're sitting at 3-1 going into Auburn, and we're not even remembering the Florida State game at that point. So like I said, it's a huge game for both schools, and this matchup has been very intriguing. Pretty much every year, but the 2019 game, really, since the DAC days, really LSU and Mississippi State have been going back and forth. It's not as lopsided as y'all would think. The only real year LSU blew Mississippi State out was the 2019 game, and then Mississippi State won by the largest margin in the game's history in 2017 in that game in Starkville, 37-7. So it's been a kind of back and forth series, man. This is not obviously LSU leads the all-time series, but this has been a rough game for LSU the last couple times, and obviously losing that last game in 2020 at home, you want to bounce back and always win the home games. And I think that's going to be a huge advantage for LSU on Saturday. We're going to see if Mississippi State's run defense can contain Jaden Daniels' running game, or is it just built on the running backs? Because I'm telling you guys, Mississippi State's run defense against Arizona, 22 carries for 44 yards. That's terrible. All right? And that means that's not like a knock on Arizona, and that's not a knock against Mississippi State in the competition they played. Arizona's a running team. They ran the ball 22 times. So they were committed to running the ball, and they still couldn't get anything going. Didn't bust one long run or anything like that. So LSU's going to have his hands full, but the good news is you get John Emery back. You have a healthy backfield with a Goodwin and Noah Cain back there, and obviously you have a quarterback who can run the ball. But the game's not going to be won there. The game is going to be won with LSU's defense, and if that front four guys can get pressure on KJ Costello, or not KJ Costello, sorry about that, not KJ Costello, that's a Will Rogers. If they can get pressure on Will Rogers and make his day and make the internal clock speed up for him, he can make bad decisions. This offense is a nickel and dime. They're gonna run you down the field in 13 plays, ball control. You really got to force them to, they're going to get their yards in between the 20s. It's what you do when they get into the red zone is what really determines games, because last year, even the Mississippi State game last year, Mississippi State drove down the field damn near every time. But LSU was able to come up with big stops and hold them to field goals, and that's what this game's going to be. It's going to be touchdowns, or if LSU can hold them to field goals and not touchdowns, that's going to be huge in the long game in this thing. And, man, I like LSU's chances. If they can get pressure on Will Rogers, I like where things stand. I think Brian Kelly is going to have this team prepared. I think this team is going to be ready for the air raid. I think it's going to be Saturday night in Death Valley, and I think LSU pulls the slight upset, and I think they take down Mississippi State this weekend and move to 2-1. And then, like I said, from there, man, it's all upward, because you should win against New Mexico, and then you go to Auburn, and then that's another huge test for LSU. But like I said, every game this team is just going to keep getting better and better. The more they coagulate and get used to each other and playing together as a team, as a coaching staff, everything is just going to run smoother and smoother the further down the season. But like I said, man, this is a huge game for both teams. I could easily see LSU coming out flat like they did against Florida State and being in an absolute dogfight. It's going to be a close game. Nobody's blowing out anybody. Like I said, this is a close series. It's been for the last couple years. I just got a feeling that LSU is going to be able to pull it out some way at the end and get the stop. I think they're going to get the stop that they need at some point in the game. And I got Will Rogers, getting frustrated, getting ahead of himself, and maybe making that crucial mistake of turning the ball over or something in that regards. And I think LSU's offensive operation is going to run a lot smoother than it did against Florida State. Jane Daniels is on a streak of 8 consecutive touchdown drives. Southern game and Florida State game. That's a pretty good stat, and hopefully we can keep that stat growing. Has got to start fast in this game. That's going to be the key to everything. Is LSU getting a lead, getting that confidence, getting the crowd into it early, and making them a factor. And if they do all that, man, I see no reason why they can't win this football game on Saturday night. Uh, Man, if you guys like today's video, man, please like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow us on all social medias. Man, we're here every week giving you guys the content from the fans' perspective. I'm just a guy just like you guys. And thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for watching. And go Tigers.